Hi there, how are you today? Until this video is recorded, I haven't been able to get connected with the other two presenters who are the CCP control citizens. We knew each other through white paper protest in Canberra. This paper is to trace the shaping of my participation in social movement by my own cross-cultural experience. I try to incorporate a few digital and AI technologies to this presentation. The description I used for this text to image generative AI is 3 monsters, 3 angels, and many animals flying out from the box. Adobe Express did a great job for my topics out of box, symbolizing that first, ideologies by which each sub-object is incarcerated are released out of box. And second, only thinking out of box, ideologies arriving to our monitor every day may be decolonized. Ideologies are always competing against each other for different group of people to be established. It's often to hear someone saying, we are the same team, but they are not. Because such ideology creates its own circle, ecosystem, or culture. It develops the individual sense of self and otherness on which conflicts are based. This reminds me of a Chinese proverb, 非我族类，其心必异. And what does it mean? Here is a video to explain this proverb. What does 犯我中华者，虽远必诛 mean then? OpenAI ChatGPT 3.5 assists me in translating it as those who violate our Chinese nation, even if they are far away, will be punished. Both proverbs have facilitated this paper to better understand how self and otherness can be driven by one's ethnicity or nationality. Conflict between groups of people with different interests always happen, and what can be possible cause? A diverse range of environmental crisis knowledge, whether accurate or not, could be one. Individual view about life expectancy can be impacted in a pessimistic and helpless manner. How if such helplessness has become an ideological phantom, inactivating individual belief in most matters supposed to be beneficial to one's life and society? Rather than digging into philosophical or existential discussion, I want to bring the focus back to the globalized, rapid, and revolutionary digital development in recent years. I wonder how technologies have been revolutionary to not only our surroundings, but also individual behaviors. These animations shows that one person carrying a diverse range of ideologies can pop out from screens of other people. Every screen can harbor more than one person holding different ideologies. Digital development has become an unnoticeable force driving expansion of territory of oneself to easily collide with other people. Is this why there has been growing violence unconventional to its existing understanding amongst many people. If we cannot digest so many competing ideologies, how could individuals develop capacity in handling with more AI-generated ideologies, whether that's real or fabricated? Besides, how long will it take for information that someone really needs to arrive on time? A research participant of mine for my HIV/AIDS study in Taiwan has been relying on social welfare system very much. As he used his phone a lot, I assume that he did so to keep relevant information up to date. So I asked him,
if you didn't use your phone to know such information, how did you know about it?
He told me that
I went there straight away. It was much quicker by just asking someone face to face. It would be too late when seeing relevant information.
His approach for reaching out for limited welfare support quickly was to have a face-to-face communication. That means a quicker manner that information may be delivered to people through digital communication than traditional methods is not entirely correct. Digital developments such as AI has developed a landscape where a diverse range of individual views can express, grow, or spread out. However, without appropriate restraints, competing ideologies can be more easily run by people to argue against each other. This includes fake news as a label framed by Donald Trump for his 2016 presidential election campaign in US to smear his opponent and some media. Let's go back to the story of the research participant I mentioned earlier. A few days later, after my question to him about how he can be timely acknowledged about relevant information for his welfare support, he shared an irrelevant post on Facebook in public. He said,
everybody has so much money. The revenue for this entity is nearly 90 million after the total income from registration fee is deducted by its total cost.
I didn't see him indicating data source and attaching any evidence, so I immediately left a public response to him. I told him to provide evidence, otherwise that would be the rumor. So far, he hasn't made any response, but kept producing similar message. From my understanding about him, his post was for him to tell the public or his friend about his rather disadvantaged socio-economic status. He can also get more attention to feel less lonely. His message will be a rumor to other people, rather than a vehicle for his frustration, discontent, or even anger to be carried and travel around. If I didn't point that out, that would keep circulating. He is not purely an audience any longer. He can become misinformation producer or carrier to spread hearsay or rumor to anywhere hardly to be noticed. Hearsay or rumor that may come true for chaos and conflict to become intensified or even unstoppable to cause more suffering and death. Therefore, the search for a righteous path is more imminent to and shared by people at times for recognition and certainty. If mobile phone is a petri dish and digital development is agar, then misinformation or hearsay cultured of the agar dish can grow rapidly and widely. When everything happening around someone can be lively witnessed, it leaves no room for any misunderstanding and unintended errors to be explained and quickly corrected. Embedded in the age of revolutionary AI development and information explosion for fake news to become rampant, the white paper protest was mobilized in 2022. The CCP control people have been suffered from long-term helplessness of speaking out for getting external support, including the CCP governed state, claimed to be a socialist communist society. There have been many footage about the white paper protest, which can be found through internet, so I won't detail it here. And here are 3 links I recommend for 1 trailer and 2 videos that you can watch. If you don't have too much time, please do check the last one, Shanghai White Paper Protest documentary. It has 2 names. The other name is called Not the Foreign Force. I personally prefer Not the Foreign Force. Remember to turn on English subtitle. Here is also a talk that I prepared for a candlelight memorial event in Canberra in the evening, 3rd December 2022. It was to express my condolence to the death of Urumqi fire on 24 November 2022. I ended up narrating it out on the stage due to a few technical problems.
My dear comrade fellows, I don't even know what my real identity is under Xai's determination for continuing zero COVID-19 policy by containing people at each of our home completely. Unfortunately, my mind is getting crazy, and I am still afraid of contracting coronavirus, even I am supposed to be safe without any worry by staying at my own space. Xai's censorship has done nothing but stopped us from bending at our fears of representing ourselves in front of you. We cannot reach out for financial and psychological support from or share those with you and others to improve our quality of lives. No matter what I've been trying to write on internet or speaking and behaving in the public, they are all under Xai's watch. I thought that staying at my own home could be safe. The incident happening in Urumqi lately shows that containing lives of the deceased at home is certainly not the case. My comrade fellows in Urumqi are not able to enjoy fresh air again with us, even there could be a possible removal of lockdown measures in nearly future. When would that be? Who knows? I can only keep myself in a very low key, just like a white paper, to express my condolences to the dead whose sacrifice can be more meaningful and memorable by holding these lights with you. Lives of the dead and every of us, hopefully, would not be like a bunch of white papers after our gathering here today, showing our respects to the sacrificed and our angers towards Xai's empire. Ironically, Xi has turned his own homeland as an empire against which he is calling us to fight. Therefore, I'm here to request your support and attention to our well-being that cannot be fulfilled when our lives are dictated by Xi. My comrades and my existence and well-being are totally muted and even wiped out under Xai's worldview to leave everyone's life in turmoil. Your voices rejecting Xai's decision of the zero COVID-19 policy can inspire and transform us from being nobody like a white paper to someone living under panic every day. Please help us by telling Xi that he would have to give up his insistence in the zero COVID-19 policy. This has cost lives of innocents without their stories being heard, told, and kept. Being white is fine. However, a little bit color or text to the purified whiteness can rescue my fellow comrades and myself from our dwellings with limited space to feel connected with you again. I want to go home, a home that I can feel safe by spending more time with my family members and friends. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best when there would be possible spies amongst us.
I understand that this protest, the white paper protest, has to be very determined and kept going until dictatorship can be defeated. Any hesitation or fear of dictatorship will not be helpful. So I don't feel that's necessary to hide my real identity when supporting the white paper protest. Dictators will do whatever they can to bring their distance down. So, what's the point? For example, the director of the Urumqi Middle Road was arrested on 5th January 2024. The description of this video on YouTube says,
quote, Urumqi Middle Road, a documentary on the first anniversary of white paper protest in Shanghai, was censored less than a week after it was uploaded to the internet in China. The X, which was Twitter account and YouTube channel of Plato, its producer, have disappeared. What happened to Plato is unclear, but they are believed to be based in China. The documentary contains a lot of first-hand video footage filmed by Plato. We don't want to see this documentary of important historical value completely disappear by the Chinese authorities. For this reason, we created this channel and uploaded the documentary here, unquote.
Here are a few photos relevant to the white paper protest. This one was a screenshot from the documentary of Shanghai white paper protest, where a female student at Nanjing Media College released a footage of holding an A4 white paper. The second one shows that a candlelight vigil for the date of Urumqi fire on 24 November 2022. And then this is a poster to call for participants attending candlelight vigil for Urumqi fire in Canberra. And that was my first time to see an event like this organized and advertised by CCP control students with posters around the civic in Canberra. Chinese embassy in Australia is not so far from the civic. And this is a wall in the ANU College of Business and Economy, Australian National University. College of Business and Economy is also known as CBE. Some students glued white paper on this wall. In 2019, it was turned into a linen wall, showing solidarity with Hong Kong. The Chinese character on the wall in this photo are the names of 4 cities in China. The biggest one is Urumqi. Left to it and from top to down are Zhengzhou, Shanghai, and Xi'an. The image in the middle was an event I organized on behalf of Canberran Taiwanese and ANU, where I met a couple of organizers for the Urumqi candlelight vigil. Scholars, including the renowned medical anthropologist Arthur Kleinman, have addressed impact of cultural revolution in relation to traumatized experience and how bodies remember. I thought this could have any difference for the different generation of CCP control people I met in Australia. But no, and in fact, it seemed to be more intensified after so many years of CCP ruling in China. The impact of Cultural Revolution and CCP ruling has been more far-reaching than any of us could have imagined. Xi Jinping's dictatorship, accompanied with revolutionary digital development, reinforces this further. Such fresh understanding about the CCP control people comes from my cross-cultural experience. It allows me to establish my capacity of not seeing any culture to prefer over another. In the case of white paper movement, CCP has been so ironic. On one hand, it always criticized the complicity between democracy, freedom, and capitalism, creating the gap between the privileged and the poor. On the other hand, CCP has been failing its support to the poor and its management of collective corruption at government level. Exercising high-handed and arbitrary force to expand one's own power by annihilating their suspected enemies only shows their inability and cluelessness about governance to manage civil unrest from becoming intensified. If algorithm of AI automatically can select the information that best suits the individual's self-preference or self-interest, it will also automatically screen out the information necessary for them to maintain their life. Necessary information may be also submerged by other abundant messages. If that's the case, or it is fabricated to be fake news or misinformation, then people who may have already been more vulnerable from inaccurate information attacks will be suffered more by such a structure. Therefore, I argue, if the algorithm of artificial intelligence cannot be appropriately used, regulated, and managed, it may pose a greater threat like structural violence to individual everyday life. Before I conclude this presentation, I would like to show you the last screenshot regarding the documentary of Shanghai White Paper protest. As you can see, it says, quote, "This is perhaps the only thing we can do for those who have lost their life," end unquote. This makes me wonder if this is perhaps the only thing protesters can do. How greater force that a revolution could require for a democratized mainland China to arrive. If the CCP-controlled people cannot be free from the CCP governance, how could they truly become decolonized from their incarcerated ideologies?